Question is, how do I find a market that has great Airbnb potential for income? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you the exact resource that I use to accumulate a portfolio of Airbnb properties that generate me passive income beyond my wildest dreams. So what's the secret website? airdna.co. That's right, airdna.co. What's so amazing about this website is, for example, I can enter in the property address or zip code that I'm looking at. So in this case, I'm looking at Palm Springs, an area that I'm actually in the process of acquiring the perfect Airbnb right now. What does this website do? It tells you everything you need to know from a data perspective to make an educated decision on where to buy an Airbnb. So join me here. What you're gonna see is by simply putting in the actual address and the zip code, I can bring up the actual report. So right here in Palm Springs at 92264 exact zip code, one, it's gonna give me an overall market grade. That overall market grade in this case is an A rating, and it ranks it by 5 key metrics. The first is rental demand. The second is revenue growth. The third is seasonality, meaning is it only good in one season or another? The fourth is regulation. Are they really cracking down? Now, regulation can be a good thing or a bad thing. It's a good thing because if you're grandfathered in, guess what? It keeps competitors out. If it's no regulation, well, guess what? That's also not a good thing because that means you're gonna have a ton of competition. And lastly, investability, meaning Park City, for example, very, very, very low investability. Why? It's astronomically expensive. You gotta have millions and millions of dollars to get a nice place in Park City, Utah. However, Palm Springs, unbelievable investability. You can get into the market for $400,000 or you can get a crazy mega property for $4 million. What it also does is it shows your ADR. And ADR is the average daily rate, but more importantly, the ADR, it allows you to break it down by property type, meaning 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom, 5 bedroom houses. It also gives you the occupancy rate. That's what percentage of the time can you expect to have a tenant in your property throughout the year, and more importantly, how you're doing compared to the market. And then also revenue, what the planned monthly revenue is based on the property type. So what we're doing here is we're educating ourselves on that market because people just use vague expectations on what they think they're going to be able to generate for rental revenue. This allows us to not only find out how the market does as an overall rating, but also you can see what the market is missing. Meaning, whoa, there's 5 bedroom houses and they're at a 90% occupancy, whereas a 2 bedroom house is only at a 40% occupancy. What does that mean? There's way too many 2 bedroom houses on the market and not enough 5 bedroom houses on the market. So once you've identified the rental market or 2 rental markets that you like and verified that they meet the occupancy expectations, the revenue expectations, and you familiarize yourself with the market, we get to move on to step 2. Step 2 is to figure out if you can get pre-approved. Because at the end of the day, if you just have the dreams and aspirations of owning an Airbnb property, but don't actually have the income, the credit, or the actual financeability of it, well, guess what? You can do all you want on step 1, but there's no reality if you can't do step 2. So step 2 is pretty simply put. There's really 2 different ways that you can qualify for an Airbnb. Option 1 is you can obviously go ahead, pull some cash out of your primary home to get enough to be able to put down your down payment, which is typically best put at either 20% down or potentially even 10% down. Now, what determines that is depending on what your income level is. Now, if you have enough disposable income from your job, you can do just a 10% down payment by only pulling 10% out of your primary home and have enough income to still qualify. If, like most people, you need a little bit of extra help, if you put 20% down, we can actually use the income that was going to be generated by the future income coming from the Airbnb and add that to your current income to help you qualify or to supercharge your approval. The second option is if you don't have cash or equity to pull out of your home, or you simply don't want to touch your current primary home, what you can do is look to borrow against your 401k, or maybe liquidate some of your stocks and bonds that you feel have kind of topped out. Or when you borrow against them, many times you can borrow 50 to 75% of the value of your 401k as an easy line of credit against that asset and use that for that down payment. Both options of either a cash out refinance on your primary home or pulling from your checking and savings or a retirement account are great options to get that down payment. Once you've figured out and have the ability to get that down payment, now we can go to see if we can get you pre-approved. By analyzing your income, your credit, and your down payment, we can quickly, within the same day, determine the amount that you can get pre-approved for to buy that Airbnb. And that allows us to move on to step 3. Step 3, for anybody that gets pre-approved by my company here at Modern Lending, what we will do is we will pull an AirDNA report for you. We will take that AirDNA report, determine what the approximate rental income that can be generated from the property type and area you're looking at, and give you a rough idea of what that pro forma looks like. What do I mean by that? We can determine what the average daily rents are times the occupancy, which basically gives us what? The total revenue from the property it's going to be bringing in for the year. Then I can help you show you guys how we calculate based on my own personal experience, what the management costs are from a separate management company. No, I will not manage your guys' Airbnb. There's professional companies that do an unbelievable job at that. I will also show you guys some key applications I have used like Guesty and Wheelhouse to supercharge my ADR. Also walk you through what to expect in terms of cleaning fees and other expenses. Once we figure out what those total expenses are, we then can determine what we call is our NOI, or our net operating income. Basically, how much income is going to be generated approximately from your property. Let's say on average, we're gonna generate $6,000 a month of net income after these expenses. And now our mortgage payment is $3,000 a month. Guess what? What does that give you? $3,000 a month of estimated passive income for you and your family that you can then turn that passive income to maybe cutting back that 9-to-5 job. So you're probably saying to yourself, Brian, that sounds great. What do I do next? Well, I'm gonna make it easy for you. Click the link in my bio where it says, I wanna get pre-approved for an Airbnb property. Click on that link. You're gonna fill out a couple questions and we're gonna get in touch with you and walk you through step number 2, which is getting you pre-approved, which will get you one step closer to getting you a new Airbnb and on your way to real generational wealth.